All right. Again, have a good evening, everybody. My name is Marshawn Graves. I am the Associate Director of Admission. In the background, I have with me Mary, who is going to be guiding the conversation in the background. She's going to be running the chat. She is our Assistant Director of Admission. So if you have questions during the presentation, just make sure you shoot those questions into the chat. And then she'll answer those. And then any leftover questions that you may come up with at the end, I'll double back and I'll answer those questions there. So tonight we'll be talking about finding and applying for scholarships, right? So this will kind of go over some scholarships that if you are already applied to PLU, what you can expect to see. And if you are looking for outside scholarships, what you can get out, what type of money you can get out there as well. So So, what is a scholarship? Basic question, but it carries a lot of weight to it. And I want to make sure that you're prepared as you start applying to POU and other universities as well, right? A scholarship is a grant or a payment to support a student's education. So, this is something that you do not have to pay back. It is money that you have already, that is not given to you, but you have already earned this money. This is things that you have done in your educational history, in your background, in clubs and organizations. So this is money that you have earned based on certain criteria that you do meet, right? So that is a scholarship. It is not like a loan. You don't have to pay it back. It is all money that you have earned and that you have applied and you have gotten. So where can you find scholarships? There's three places you can find those. Scholarships can be given from your institution, from the institutional aid. So these are scholarships that are directly straight from the college or the university themselves, right? This is money that's coming from them directly. Then you have federal and state aid. This is money that you will get through FAFSA, through WASFA. This is where you find that money. And then there's also outside scholarships that are not tied to a university, not tied to the federal funding, but are run through like organizations and small community groups or sometimes even churches and etc. So there's lots of different outside scholarships that you can apply for, and we'll kind of go through and talk about some of those options and where you can find them at. So institutional aid, which ones does your school offer? All right, so we'll review our POU's scholarship page, and we'll kind of talk about the details. And then you also want to kind of consider what deadlines do they have attached to those scholarships, right? So we'll go over our institutional aid that we offer here at POU in the next slide. So POU scholarships. One of the things that I want to highlight, as you can see in the bottom right corner of this slide, is that 100% of students do receive financial aid. And nine, so this is you're going when you come to PLU, when you see that large stick, when you see that sticker price, that is not what you're going to be paying when you attend the university, right? So we want to highlight the academic scholarship that you see up there, $8,000 to $32,000 per year. This is going to be based on the GPA that you have from your high school Running Start years, right? This is what this is going to be based off of. So academic scholarships. And then next we have our presidential scholarship, which is stackable. In order to achieve or qualify for this scholarship, you have to have a 3.8 weighted GPA. And then demonstrated leadership and services. So this can be in any organization or community group. And we're looking for things that are not just you are volunteering, but something that you have led and you are currently leading in your school community group. And we're looking for things outside of just sports. So yeah. Then we have our 253 PLU bound. So this is a full tuition coverage. This is a makeup of your FAFSA, your academic scholarships, grants, loans, and then PLU will cover the leftover remaining balance. But you have to qualify for PLU bound scholarship. So you have to be college bound eligible. And there's some more criteria here. You have to have a 3.0 high school GPA, and there's some more criteria that we'll discuss a little bit later in order to receive that. Then we have our housing grant. This is given to everybody if once you fill out your application and you say that you will be staying on campus. So you don't have to reapply for a housing grant at POU. Then we have our visit scholarship, which is $1,000 per year. If you have not visited POU yet, there's a great opportunity to come November the 11th. Mary, if you want to maybe include that link in the chat, if you want to come to our fall preview day, which is November the 11th. It's a holiday, so you should be out of school. It's a free event. Come get a free lunch, tour the campus, talk to some professors that in a major that you're interested in studying. So, Mary, if you want to include that link in the chat, that'll be a great opportunity to visit POU if you haven't already. Then we have our Artistic Achievement Award, which can be between $1,000 and $7,500 per year. So these are scholarships for music, theater, dance, art, design, digital media. And these are things that you want to list on your application that you're interested in, or sometimes we can tell based on your transcripts that you have of interest that you might have in these areas. Right? We have our Alumni Dependent Scholarship, another $1,000 per year. You must be a dependent of a POU alum. Our Riki Leadership Award, it's an additional application required for this, but it is with another $1,000 to $1,500 per year. Then we have our POU Matching Scholarship, our plums. So this is going to be a scholarship that is available if your congregation or church or clergy or they decide to donate $1,000 per year, POU will match that $1,000. And then we have our Confirmation Scholarship, which is $500 per year. So these are all our institutional scholarships that we offer at POU. So some good questions to ask. So do I automatically get a scholarship? Everybody who applies to POU will get an academic scholarship. 99% of students who apply get academic scholarships at POU. Will I receive the scholarship every year? Yes. These scholarships follow you every year at POU. We kind of talked about, are there major specific scholarships? And I listed some of those in the previous slide. And then what do you need to do to keep your scholarship? And do I see myself doing that? So here at POU, you have to maintain academic eligibility. So you kind of want to make sure you keep your academic standards satisfactory. You don't want to get into academic probation. And then you need to contain continuous enrollment in order to keep your scholarships at POU. But these are good institutional aid questions to ask for any school that you are looking at. State and federal aid. So what else can you get out there? There's lots of money, lots of free money. Money goes unclaimed every single year from the federal level and from the state level. So you want to capitalize on all the opportunities that you do have. Get the money, get all the free money there is out there for you to get. So the first thing you want to do, some of you and many of you may have already applied for have already done the FAFSA. And then what the FAFSA stands for is the free application for federal state aid for student aid. Again, this is a free application, right? This is something that you do with your parents or your guardians, whoever is your guardian at your home. If you do not qualify for FAFSA, then you want to do what is called the WASFA, which is the Washington State Resident Financial Aid, right? So this is what I kind of talked about earlier. Students that chose not to complete the FAFSA for the 2023 school year left $4 billion on the table. So capitalize on the money that's out there. There's a ton of it. And by completing your FAFSA, you're gaining the access to a lot of money that's going to help you pay off your education. What aid is available? So grants such as the Pell Grant and the Federal Supplemental Education Opportunity. Again, these are just some of the aid that is available. This is not the exhaustive list of aid that is available, but these are just some of them. You have work study aid. This is where you work on campus and the federal government will pay half of their salary, and the school pays the other half. But this is to use for things like books, things that you need on campus, computers, things like that. So you get a paycheck, and that's where that money will go. Then we have our state aid. So this is specific grants for those going to college in state. Washington State College grant, Washington State College Bound, 253, things like of that nature, right? So again, this is not an exhaustive list, but these are just some of the aid that is available to you by applying for the FAFSA and the WASFA or the WASFA. Then want to get into the second list, the third list, I'm sorry, the outside scholarship. So these are things that are not offered by university, and then are not offered by filling out the FAFSA or the WASFA. So again, they're not offered by the university, and they're not the FAFSA or the WASFA. Here are some websites that you can check out, that you can look for. One of the main things I like to highlight is that never pay to access free money. Again, never pay to access free money. So, but here are some of the websites that you can look for scholarships, and some of these are niche. Like they're like very, very specific. You meet this category, you can apply for this scholarship. And then we'll kind of go into some of those as well, right? So, but you have Big Future, scholarships.com. Also, what I want to highlight is use your high school counselor and your college and career center. They have a plethora of knowledge of what scholarships that you would be good for. They will help you search for those. They are literally, that's what they are there for. They are there to help you find money to go to school, help you find a good school that's a good fit for you, and help you fill out any application that you may need. So always, always, always use your high school counselor and college and career center on your campus. So next is treat applying. Here's a tip. These are just, we're going to go over some tips that we have for you. You don't have to do all these tips, but we've seen these tips be successful with other people, so we wanted to share, right? Treat applying for scholarships like a job, right? Maybe certain feel like a job, right? But if you think about it this way, let's say you've worked 10 hours and then you earn $1,000 scholarship, you've earned $100 an hour, right? I wish I was being paid $100 an hour. That'd be a great time, great salary. So kind of think of it that way, right? Think about it as a part-time job. It is better to take the time to apply for scholarships now than spending time later trying to pay off college loans. So work hard to get that money that is out there. Again, you've already done the work. And so why not reap the rewards of doing that work? Tip 2, find ways to narrow down the options. So think about keywords to find scholarships. Again, use your high school counselor, your career counselor, to help you work through some of these scholarships, right? One of the cool things you can do is you can identify based off your identity or cultural background. So as you can see examples for scholarship for Black students, Greater Seattle Business Association, scholarships for LGBTQIA plus students, Hispanic scholarship finder. So there's a lot of different scholarships just based on your identity or your cultural background. And then there's also scholarships for your major of interest. Washington State Opportunity Scholarships for those interested in STEM and healthcare. So again, narrow down your options, find things that are specific to you, and go for those scholarships as well. Again, you have life experiences. These are just some examples. Again, these are not exhaustive. So there's more than this, but these are just some of the things we wanted to highlight. Scholarships for rare diseases. You can go by region that you live in, activities that you enjoy, Duck Brand Stuck at Prom contest. I mean, these are real scholarships, right? Bean for Brains, knitting scholarships. These are real scholarships that are out there for you to get, and they are everywhere, right? So take advantage of those. Tip number 3, keep track of deadline. If you are one that forgets things, keep an Excel or Google Sheet to help you keep track of deadlines so that you don't miss. You don't want to have the paper pretty much done or you've completed the application, but you just forgot to submit it by the deadline. So keep a running Excel sheet or Google Sheet, paper, if that's how you work best. And keep those lists so that you make sure that you hit those deadlines. And then tip number 4, kind of what I spoke about earlier, is never pay for free money. There's going to be lots of people out there saying, oh, if you give me this money, I can help you find these scholarships, or I can get you more scholarships. You already have people in your corner that can do that. Again, you already have your high school and career counselor. You already have your regular counselor at school. You have the people in your family. Take advantage of all the resources that are around you. And there's too many free sites that are offering this information, right? So never pay for free money. And then tip number 5, make sure you follow the prompt. Too many times you get sidetracked and you start talking about something else that the prompt is not asking for. Don't be afraid to ask for proofreading, just like you do in any type of other essay, right, that you're working on. Hey, can you check this out? Make sure this is good for me. If you're close with your English teacher, ask your English teacher. Ask them if they can proofread. Ask a friend. And if you can double up an essay, right? Always work smarter, not harder. So if you already have an essay that you've written and it can work for something else, if you need to just rewrite it just a little bit, do that as well, right? So never overwork yourself and then never recreate the wheel. You are, hey, just change it up a little bit and submit that, right? So y'all for coming out tonight. Again, I hope we didn't take up too much of your time, but I do hope this information was helpful. I'm going to double back and check the chat to see if we have any more questions that Mary was not able to answer for you. And then maybe somebody in the chat may have had the same question that you had. So I'm going to stop the share. Okay, well, it seems like we don't have any questions. So I am going to release you all, and I hope you all have a good night. If you do have any questions, my email is, I will drop it in the chat. And then you can send me questions if you think of some as you're going about your day tomorrow. You can send them to that email, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you for your time, and y'all have a good night.